What does Cult of the Dead Cow, sandworms, and hacking humans have in common? Stay tuned.
So, hey, Tony, I hear you have a very interesting list of books for us to read while we're all kind of locked down and have a little bit more free time.
See, recently, all of us have been spending a considerable amount of time at home. And as I was prepping for today's ThreatTraq, I was reading some articles, and I came across one on dark reading that I thought would be perfect. So it's called 8 InfoSec Page Turners for Days Spent Indoors. And what I'm going to do is kind of give a paraphrase or a Cliff Notes version of each summary with the 8 different books that are sitting in this article. That way I don't have to just repeat the whole summary, just a couple quick snippets. And, maybe some will pique your interest. A couple of them that I read the summaries for really sparked my interest. I'm going to pick those up. So, without further ado, we'll start with the first one. It's called Fanworm, a new era of cyber war and the hunt for Kremlin's most dangerous hackers. It's a nice, big, long title. But basically, this book is going to cover what the writer believes to be the people behind NotPetya, in addition to some of the attacks between 2014 and 2017 against electrical grids, infrastructures across America, Eastern Europe, and NATO. So that one sounds very interesting to me because there's not a lot about the background with that particular group that I know about. So the next one that I want to go into is called Security Yearbook 2020. This one details out various cybersecurity industry groups, and it also gives a directory of those various groups, and it's in alphabetical and country, so you can actually use it kind of like the old school yellow pages. So that one sounds very interesting to kind of get that historical edge as well as what's current today. For number 3 on this list, it's called Countdown to Zero Day. Now, this one details about the planning, the execution, and the different facets of Stuxnet and what it was used for when it first came out. Now, if you're not familiar with Stuxnet, this is one of the first pieces of malware that really was designed to produce damage, physical damage. So if you don't know a lot about Stuxnet, I highly suggest picking that one up. The next one, number 4 on the list, is called Cult of the Dead Cow. That caught my attention, and it's how the original hacking supergroups might have saved the world. So that's the whole title. Now, this one traces the group that was basically kind of part of the creation of hacktivism, and it also details some of its famous members. So with that one in particular, I think I'm going to definitely pick that one up as well. Number 5 on the list is called the Fifth Domain. Now, this one covers the fifth domain when you're dealing with land, air, sea, space, and the fifth domain being cyberspace. And the term fifth domain in this conversation or this topic was actually coined by the Pentagon. Number 6 is called Exploding Data. Now, this book details people's personal data, how it's being used today, and basically about us as internet citizens and what to do about this expansion in personal data across the internet. And number 7 by Bruce Snyder is called We Have Root. Now, this book is a new grouping of a bunch of Bruce's essays dealing with various facets of technology. And now, number 8, which I'm definitely going to pick this one up because it's social engineering the science of the human hacking. Now, the reason why I'm going to pick this up is this is the second edition of Chris Hadnagy's first book, which I currently own, called The Art of Human Hacking. Now, this one is basically an expansion of how he described how to hack a human being through social engineering. And since the first one was written 10 years ago, a lot has evolved since then. So those are the 8 books listed in that article that was found on Dark Reading. And since we're going to be at home, you might as well, grab a book and check these things out, because I think that some of it's really interesting. So now, Stan and Jim, I want to ask you, do you guys have a personal favorite book that you wanted to cover? I've got one myself, not one that I showed, but I've got another one, but I want to get your ideas.
One of my favorite books is Security Engineering here by Ross Anderson. And this was a book I used in college to learn about computer security. It actually caught my attention because it describes a lot of use cases where people try to build secure technologies or just build security into a system design, and they failed and something went wrong. And this book is very well written, and it explains what went wrong and actually explained like how it should have been done more correctly. It really expanded my way of thinking in terms of, in general, just any system design, how to create systems, how to design them, how to think about security, but also helped me to think about how to hack and what kind of assumptions people make in order to figure out where maybe some vulnerabilities are in the system. So it helped me both from designing things more securely and penetration testing and things like that. It's definitely a book I recommend, and it helped me a great deal when I was starting out.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Jim, do you have a book in particular? Or?
Yeah, actually, I do. The one that I would include on the list is, can't speak the whole name of it, but it's POC or GTFO. I came out a couple of years ago, and it's a collection of proof of concept for exploits. And it's a really great way to get into the head of the attackers, to understand how, as someone who's primarily a defender, this is an opportunity to see how the exploit developers think. And so, yeah, really good book that I highly recommend.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart, because it can get into really specific POCs, proof of concepts for how to exploit things that you didn't think were possible. But the most beautiful thing about that book in its digital form is that it's actually a bunch of different journals that got released from different volumes. And each volume is a PDF that's also some other type of file. Like it could have, it's a picture and a PDF and maybe an EXE that showcases some sort of a POC. It's really wonderful if you're into that sort of thing. So it's a great choice.
Very cool. And now it's my turn. This one doesn't really teach you about cybersecurity, but I thought this one was really good. It's called Ghost in the Wire, and it's by Kevin Mitnick. So it actually outlines his whole life story up till the year that he wrote this book. But it even starts off with his bus trips when he was a kid, and how he learned how to circumvent paying for bus rides when he was a kid. So it's a really interesting, it's a fun book, I thought. So yeah, I think I'm going to pull that one up again and go through the social engineering book and, just enjoy my time.
Excellent. And I know I'll pick up a few of those page turners myself. The ones that caught my attention was the Stuxnet one and the NotPetya, because I think I've read just newspaper articles about them, and it's fascinating. So a book on it would probably illuminate even more information and detail. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess of those 8, the one that really got my attention most is the one about NotPetya, because I remember spending 40 hours in IDA looking at it myself when it occurred a couple of years ago. So that one is one that I will definitely look into.
Yeah, that one's Fanworm. The ones that I think I'm going to pick up, I am interested in the Countdown to Zero Day, which is the Stuxnet. Cult of the Dead Cow. I think I'll probably pick that one up as well. And then obviously I'll ask you guys how Sandworm is, and maybe that'll be the trifecta. So.
Well, it seems like we all picked that one.
It's really interesting, especially with the work that our group does. So.
Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember Cult of the Dead Cow. But anyway, thanks, Tony.